Hello, you're here with the Fly Guy. Just wanted to thank you for watching this video. Today I'm going to show you how to make a simple and inexpensive dubbing brush to tease out fibers on your flies. This dubbing brush is very inexpensive to make. You literally only need 3 materials to make it. You just need a rough section of a Velcro tab, a popsicle stick, and some 5-minute epoxy. I mean, this thing can be ready to go in a couple hours after the epoxy cures. And I like this because it's got a flat profile. When you turn it to the side here, you can see it's not very thick, so you can get it in between hook gaps and you can really blend materials together. One of the uses that I have for it is I tie woolly buggers a lot, and the woolly buggers that I tie, I don't use chenille. I actually dub my bodies. So when I do that, I want to be able to blend those fibers together and really make it buggy. So this really helps me to do that. And when I have a wire rib or something like that, or maybe even copper wire or mono, to wrap in those feathers and keep them secure, I don't want my dubbing brush or dubbing comb to pull that out after I've wrapped that down. So I can actually wrap that rib down and then use this dubbing brush to tease those fibers out, and I know that rib is still going to stay intact. So let's get started. First, I like to take the popsicle stick and sand it down a little bit, just where I'm going to apply the epoxy and the Velcro strip. So what I have here is just a little 150 grit sandpaper, and all I'm going to do is literally just rough up a little section on the end of the popsicle stick, and this is going to be about the size of a nickel or a dime, somewhere in between there. Just get it roughed up a little bit so that the epoxy has something to grab to. Okay, so as you can see, if you look here, I've just kind of scored it a little bit. You can see some marks in there from the sandpaper. Doesn't have to be anything fantastic, just as long as there's something to grip to for that epoxy. Typically when you go to the store, you're going to see these Velcro strips. They're going to come in packs of anywhere from 6 to a dozen, and they're going to have both a scratchy side, it's going to be rough, and then this very fuzzy side. You're going to select the scratchy side, the rough side of the Velcro strip. You're going to get one of those tabs. I like these circles because they're small, and you can easily attach them to the popsicle stick. There's no hangover. You don't have to cut it later. You can just kind of stick it on with the epoxy and go to it. So what we're going to do next is mix our epoxy. I have 5 minutes Loctite epoxy here, and this just works very well. You can quickly get this set up and using your new tool. And I also use these clear plastic cards. Now this one I just cut out, but they're just Mylar sheets that you can get from places like Pat Catan's. They're literally like $1 or $1.50. I use them for so many different things. It's worth getting. So and it's easier to mix epoxy on these as opposed to like a paper plate or something. So on my card here, you can see I've just got a little bit of epoxy. In fact, these drops here are probably even going to be too much. You do not need a lot for this. You just need a little bit. The adhesive on the back of the Velcro strip is not very strong, so you need the 5-minute epoxy to make sure that it's durable. So all we're doing here is mixing it up. I'm mixing up my epoxy here, just blending it together. Yet again, this is the 5-minute set time, so just take about maybe 30 to 45 seconds, mix it together, make sure it's mixed thoroughly. It should start to clear up a little bit, and once you start to see it get a little bit more clear, then you know it's kind of ready to apply to your project. So I'm going to take a little bit of this here. And all I'm doing is just sticking a very little amount, because once you press that Velcro strip or that Velcro tab onto the popsicle stick, it's going to press that out. So you don't need a whole lot. So after applying that, I'm going to go ahead and take the Velcro tab that I selected, and I'm going to place it and center it so that there's very little overhang on it. There is going to be a little bit of the Velcro tab that hangs off the edge on each side. That's okay. That's not going to be a problem. That epoxy is going to lock that in, and you're going to be able to, you know, use this pretty aggressively and not have to worry about it coming off. So after you get that centered and lined up, all you're going to do is sit and wait. They say it takes 5 minutes to harden up and tack up, which is true. It does tack up in about 5 minutes, but if I were going to let it set to full strength, I'd just let it sit for 24 hours so that it completely hardens, and then you're ready to go. Anytime when you're working with epoxy, especially something that quick sets and it's, you know, a 5-minute set like the one I used today, it's always good to have either some denatured alcohol or some rubbing alcohol. I've got some 91% rubbing alcohol here. If it has not set yet, the rubbing alcohol will quickly get you cleaned up, so you can go ahead and put some in a mixing cup. And my you can see my stirrer stick stuck to the plastic there. You can just dip that in the rubbing alcohol and wipe it off with a paper towel, and it's good to go. So no epoxy there. And you can also do the same thing with a card if you wanted to. These cards are really inexpensive, so if you wanted to save some and reuse them, you could do that. So all I do is just drip a little bit of the rubbing alcohol on here, and again, just take your paper towel and wipe that off. So that card is cleaned. Okay, so after you're finished, this is all cured up. This isn't going anywhere. That epoxy has locked it down. So now you're ready to use your brush. Test it out. See how it works for you. It should work for large and medium-sized flies. You could use it on small flies as well. It just depends on how small your hook gap is. And use this to tease out fibers and blend fibers together on dubbed bodies, streamers, various woolly bugger patterns, etc. And see how it works out for you. If you want the material list for this project and to see this video again, you can subscribe to my blog, the Fly Guy blog, at tfgflies.com. And if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and thanks again for watching.